This story dives into heavy, sometimes raw themes that can shake you to your core. These are topics YouTube seems to bury, as if its algorithm fears their unfiltered truth. But I believe it's vital to bring them into the light, to tell them with conviction. If you feel the same, if you think these stories deserve to be heard, then give this video a boost. Share it, comment on it, make it live. Every action counts in breaking the silence. Some images hit you right in the heart, even without context. The first time I saw that photo, I was gripped by the woman's gaze, a vacant, almost haunted look, as if she carried the weight of an invisible world. It took me a while to notice the details. A worn military blouse, mud-caked boots on a bathroom rug, and right beside her, a man's portrait, like a specter watching the scene. This image is a key, a doorway to a story that defies imagination, one of the most extraordinary of the Second World War. This woman is Lee Miller, model, actress, photographer, journalist, adventurer, war correspondent. But above all, she's the creator of the most shattering images of the 20th century. Pictures that force us to face the Holocaust, to learn its lessons, to fight racism, anti-Semitism, and hatred. Lee Miller was born in 1907 in Poughkeepsie, New York, into a Protestant but open-minded family. Her father, Theodore, an engineer and photography enthusiast, instilled in her a ravenous curiosity and fierce determination. As a child, she grew up in the intimacy of his darkroom, surrounded by the smell of developing chemicals, posing for his shots. Her beauty already turned heads. People compared her to a doll, and she knew it. But beneath that angelic face burned a rebellious, untamable spirit. Yet her childhood was shattered by two traumas that left deep scars. At 7, while staying with family friends, she was raped by their son, a soldier on leave. The pain was twofold. She contracted a venereal disease, and the treatment, in an era without penicillin, was grueling. To protect her, her parents and doctors taught her to separate sexuality from love, to see it as a mechanical act, to banish guilt. This lesson shaped her, forging a fierce need for emotional independence that would follow her always. Then, as a teenager, she watched, helpless, as her first love drowned during a boating outing. That early loss carved a wound no balm could heal. To soothe these scars, her parents spoiled her, overlooked her defiance. Lee, too brilliant for the school system, rejected authority and was expelled from multiple schools. One day, a former teacher offered to take her to Europe. Her parents, hoping to rein her in, agreed. Lee, thrilled at the prospect of discovering Paris, leapt at the chance. Barely arrived, she ditched her chaperone and wrote to her father, "I'm going to be an artist. I found a theater school. If you can pay for it, great. If not, I'll manage." At 18, she broke free, diving headfirst into the vibrancy of the 1920s. Paris was the beating heart of surrealism, a movement that unshackled imagination from the chains of reason, exploring the unconscious in dreams. Names like André Breton, Paul Eluard, Marcel Duchamp, Max Ernst, and René Magritte echoed in cafes. In photography, one name reigned, Man Ray. Lee, mesmerized, dreamed of joining these legends. But her father brought her back to the US. In New York, she studied at the Art Students League, uninspired, while helping her father develop photos, until fate intervened. One day in Manhattan, she crossed a street without looking. A car sped toward her. At the last second, a man pulled her back. That man was Condé Nast, the mogul behind Vogue, Vanity Fair, and The New Yorker. Dazzled by her icy beauty, he offered her a modeling gig with Vogue. Lee embodied the elegance of the Roaring '20s, posing for Edward Steichen, the era's top photographer. In March 1927, she became the face of the modern New York woman on Vogue's cover. But fame was fleeting. One of her photos was used in an ad for sanitary napkins, a scandal at the time. Her modeling career collapsed. Lee laughed it off. She found fashion shallow. She wanted to create, not be an object. At 22, she returned to Paris, set on becoming a photographer. She knocked on Man Ray's door. He was out, about to leave on a trip. Disappointed, she drowned her sorrows in a nearby bar. Then, by sheer chance, Man Ray walked in. Without hesitation, she declared, "I'm your new student." He refused. She pressed, "I'm coming with you." And she did. For 3 years, she was his apprentice, muse, and lover. Together, they pushed the boundaries of surrealism. Lee stumbled upon solarization, a technique that inverts a photo's density, becoming Man Ray's signature. Her own works, like a diptych of a severed breast, captured surrealism's essence, unveiling the extraordinary in the ordinary. In the 1930s, Lee shone among Parisian artists. She starred in Jean Cocteau's The Blood of a Poet, a film about the agony of creation. But her relationship with Man Ray, strained by his jealousy, frayed. In 1932, she returned to New York and opened the Lee Miller Studio. Her French-tinged portraits were a hit, yet boredom gnawed at her. Surrealism was scarce in the US, and she craved adventure. Then Aziz Eloui, a wealthy Egyptian she'd met in Europe, proposed. In 1934, they married in New York and settled in Cairo. Luxury in Egypt stifled Lee. Idleness consumed her. She threw herself into desert expeditions, reigniting her passion for photography. Her shot, Portrait of Space, a torn window in the vast desert, became a surrealist icon. But she withered. In 1937, Aziz, seeing her distress, sent her to Paris. There, she reconnected with her artist friends and met Roland Penrose, an English poet. It was love at first sight. The next summer, they traveled through the Balkans, capturing images tinged with the looming shadow of war. Back in Egypt, Lee knew she couldn't stay. Aziz, still in love, let her go. In 1939, Lee settled in London with Roland. The day they arrived, air raid sirens wailed. War had broken out. The American embassy ordered her to return. She tore up the letter. "I've known comfort. Now I'll face the storm." She became a photographer for Vogue, capturing fashion amid the Blitz's bombs. Her images, collected in grim glory, pictures of Britain under fire, showed British resilience. Then she documented women's war efforts, becoming a journalist to give her photos a voice. In 1941, she met David Sherman, a Life magazine photographer. Together, they dove into the conflict. In 1944, Lee earned accreditation as a war correspondent. Captain Elizabeth Miller landed in Normandy, determined to be at the heart of the action. At Breville's evacuation hospital, she photographed broken bodies and exhausted nurses. In Saint-Malo, she shared soldiers' lives, wading through blood, sleeping in trenches. Her words cut deep. "I crushed a severed hand under my heel. I cursed the Germans for this slaughter." In Paris, she captured the liberation's joy, but also its violence. Shaved women, beaten collaborators. Her surrealist eye turned these moments into timeless images. In 1945, Lee and David entered Germany. They stepped into Dachau and Buchenwald. Faced with the horror, skeletal bodies, ovens, ashes, Lee was frozen. Her photos, unflinching, became the first images of the camps published in Vogue. She cabled her editor, "Believe me, it's the truth." Those images forced the world to see the unthinkable. In Munich, they found Hitler's apartment. In his bathroom, Lee staged a photo, herself, naked, in his tub, her muddy boots on his rug, his portrait beside her. A surrealist image, a defiant cry. Her gaze in that shot was that of a woman shattered, but resolved to bear witness. After the war, Lee was changed. Trauma consumed her. She married Roland, gave birth to their son, Anthony, but sank into depression. Alcohol and pills became her refuge. She abandoned photography, turned to cooking, but found no peace. She refused to speak of her past, as if to erase it. Lee died in 1977, taken by cancer in Roland's arms. A final photo by Mark Ribot shows an aged but still beautiful woman, her gaze unreadable. Lee Miller chose to take photos, no matter the cost, rather than be one. Her artist's eye captured the absurd, the horror, and the human spirit. Her images dare us to forget.